Most of us have worked hard to organize our workspaces so that we can work comfortably and effectively. So you'll be glad to know that you can configure Live's browser, change where your user library and Live packs are located, and create custom templates. So let's take a look at that. And I've just got, again, a default set open. So the first thing that we can customize here in the browser are the items that we see in the collections and categories area. And in fact, as you see me hovering my mouse on the headers of those areas, you see this edit button appear. So if I click on that, it opens up this option for us to click select anything that we want in collections or anything that we want in the categories to be visible. For example, I don't use the sounds and drums categories so much to access things. I'll directly go into my instruments category or one of the other categories for content. So I could choose to deselect those two things and then click done. And we can do the same thing up here in the collections area. And let's talk about that. Now, the collections area allows us to create a place where we can grab content that we use a lot so that we don't have to dive down one of these other folders to do that. And so one of the things that I do is up here in the instruments area, instead of having all of the instruments available that I have in my Ableton area or in my third-party plugins, I've just chosen the ones that I use frequently or the ones that I want to have kind of in my view so that I'll check them out and learn them. So the ones that I see here from Live's library include Analog, Operator, Simpler, and Wavetable. And then some new content that's included in Live 11 are these brass and string quartets. And then the rest of this is all third-party stuff that I either use frequently or I'm learning. And kind of similar down here in these other categories are audio and MIDI plugins that I use a lot. So I've got a collection of compressors and gates and other things like that that I use, a collection of EQs, and these are cutting across all the content that I use. Now, you'll notice that each one of these collections has a color and that anything that's in that collection also shows the same color, and some things show multiple colors because they're actually in multiple categories. These two channel plugins, for example, have both EQs and compressors, so we can find them under both of these categories. So you can choose how you want to use these collections and what you put in them, and it's easy to do. All you have to do is go into one of these categories below, and for example, let's go into the plugins, the third-party area, and let's see, let me just find let's say that I wanted to put Vitamin in the compressor category. So if I select that, all I need to do is hit the number that's associated with that collection. So they're numbered in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, through a maximum of 7 different collections. So if I want it to go into the compressor area, I'm going to hit the number 2 on the numpad of my keyboard or on the number 2 in the QWERTY area. And now you see that the kind of gold color is there. And if I go into compressor down at the bottom, there's Vitamin. Now, if I want to get rid of that, all I have to hit is the number 2 again. You'll see that the color is gone. It's still showing in the category, but if I go away from it and come back, Vitamin's no longer there. Now, if you want to rename one of these collections, all you have to do is select it and go Command R, and now you can type a new name for it and hit return. At any point, if you want to hide or show something, you can go back to your edit button for that, click it, and now if I wanted to see the 7th collection area, I can click that and I can bring back these other 2 categories by clicking on them and then clicking done in either area. Okay, another thing that you might want to customize is where your user library and your live packs are stored. For this, we're going to need to go to our preferences area. So remember, preferences is under an options menu on a PC and it's under the live menu on a Mac. So let's go to preferences, and I've already pre-selected the library category or tab here. And in this area, you can see this option for content locations. So to relocate one of these two things, all you have to do is click the Browse button. And I've got a separate drive on my computer that's called Samples 2. And currently, that is where my user library is stored, as well as my Ableton Live packs. I actually created a folder called Ableton Live packs, and that is where we see all that stuff stored. So this allows me to get the user library and the mass of the Ableton content onto a hard drive other than my system drive. So all you do is navigate to the folder or drive where you want to locate this stuff, and then click the Open button here, and it will copy and move that content to this new location. Now I'm going to cancel because I already have my stuff where I want it. And you can always come in here and see the location. Volumes, samples is the drive, and then the actual name of the folder where it's stored, and the same thing down here for packs. All right, let's talk a little bit about templates. So, as I mentioned in an earlier video, we have a new templates category. And here we can see a variety of templates, some of which were part of the installation of Live 11 and some that I've created. For example, if I choose the writing template and double click on that, that is going to load that template into my live set. And if I click on these different tracks, you can see that I've already got instruments and in some cases even plugins loaded. And I've also got a couple reverbs and some delays here. And I've got some sends already set up so that I can start playing and hear sounds with reverb. Now, let me create a default set. So I'm just going to click here on File and Create New Live Set. And if I want to save this, let's say I've added a bunch of plugins to this, done some routing, and now I want to save this as a new template, all I need to do is go up to my File menu and say Save Live Set as Template. And then give that a name. Now you'll notice that when I did that, that took me right into the user library and into a subfolder called Templates, and it's going to let me save it there. Let me call this my rock template. And I'll hit my return key, and I'm good to go. If at any point I update this, all I need to do is go back and say File, Save Live Set as Template. Notice that it's giving it the same name. If I hit my return key, it's going to say, hey, do you want to overwrite that old template? Well, if I do, all I need to do is click OK. And if I don't, all I need to do is change the template name to something like version 2 or something different, and I'll have both of those templates. But let me say OK. And now it's overwritten it, and I've got the updated template there. So again, if I go into templates, I can see that there is my rock template. Now, if I want to make that my default template, the easiest way to do that is to right click on it and say Set Default Live Set. And when I did that, you'll notice there's a little check mark next to that. If I want to put that back on the original default template, I can just click on that one, right click there, Set Default Live Set, and now that is the one with the little check mark next to it. So now that you know how to customize the browser, take some time and think about how you like to work, then use these features to tweak your setup.